on Spectrum Sportsnet. As we say hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by the Hall of Famer, big game James Worthy, five-time champ, GM, head coach, the LA Sparks. Geeter will be joining us, Brez, Mike Trudell. It may have been a quiet day surrounding the Lakers, but I don't know about you guys, but when I opened my Twitter today, I couldn't keep up. The NBA trade deadline has come and gone. We're going to get right to it. Some of the biggest trades you see right here. The Nuggets got a bit better. They acquired Aaron Gordon. Nikola Vucevic went to the Bulls. JaVale McGee returns to Nugget Nation. Celtics acquired Evan Fournier from the Magic. Clippers, familiar face to Laker Nation, Rajon Rondo from the Hawks. And the Heat acquired Victor Oladipo from the Rockets. One name that didn't move at the deadline was Kyle Lowry, and according to a report from Shams, the player the Lakers were not willing to include in the deal right here. Talen Horton-Tucker. THT has played 40 games for the Lake Show, averaging 8 points per game, shooting 45% from the field with over 2 assists. Big game. We've talked about him all season long. Just 8 points a game. No, so much more than that. He's only 20 years old. How important, how would you quantify players, pieces like him, as the importance or as it relates to a veteran team like the Lakers?
He's not only is he a futuristic player, someone that you can keep for a long time and can be extremely effective. If we're already seeing at his young age, I think the Lakers look at him as someone who can handle the ball, someone who has size, and kind of an unorthodox style of play, the way he plays. Always under control, has a variety of shots, back to his basket, flipping shots in. But I think one of the things that impressed me the most is, and I think LeBron pointed out, is at a young age, the poise and calmness to be able to read defenses and pick them apart. I think that's a sign of what could be in the future, and I don't think they wanted to, take a chance on, giving that up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what other parts of the deal, in terms of THT being included in, there have to be other pieces.
Other players,
and other players, so I'm not sure what that included. But, yeah, I think historically it's always been challenging to find the balance between winning now and planning appropriately for the future and being able to sustain a certain level of greatness. And I think the organization has learned from, as Kobe transitioned into the latter part of his career, trying to make a lot of moves to surround him with championship pieces for today that didn't really lead to great balance and sustaining greatness once he was done. And so I think with LeBron getting closer to the end, but having Anthony Davis, it is important to keep that balance. And THT helps the balance stay with, no, we can be good for a long time, not just for the next couple years.
Absolutely. But when you're speaking of the interim, this team is getting one step closer to being healthy, which is what we all really care about right now, guys. Marc Gasol, as Frank Vogel mentioned today, he will return to action. He will be on a minutes restriction, only 15 minutes, hasn't played in over 3 weeks. But when you think of where this team is at right now, getting these pieces back, he's a guy a playmaker, when you're certainly missing that out on the floor right now.
Yeah, playmaker. Smart, high basketball IQ, a level of physicality and toughness that he plays the game with. A great passer, like we talked about the playmaking, but poised, composed, only wants to win. That's all he cares about. So I think he'll be excited to be back, and it'll take him some time to get his game legs back. But it'll be good to see him back on the court.
Frank Vogel mentioned it, big game, as kind of like a rehab start in baseball. That's what it'll be like for Marc coming back.
Yeah, he was almost about to get in pretty good shape. I don't think he was in the best he wanted to be, and then he went down for a while. So for a guy that's been around that long, his size, I'm sure he's been on the bike or whatever, but it'll take him some time. But as Fish pointed out, you bring some experience, his defensive prowess that he had in Memphis, just having that experience out there on the floor. And remember, he is a great passer, so he could give you a few more buckets a game if guys are moving without the ball. It's just good to have another big brother out there.
Absolutely.
When AD and LeBron are out, he's been around. He knows, how to compose and keep guys together.
that stability, which, speaking of LeBron and AD, Shams also reporting that LeBron is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. That will be his recovery time from injury. Now, I looked this up as it pertains to games in the schedule. 4 weeks, guys, puts him at 15 games missed. He's already missed 2. Or 6 weeks, about 21 games. Of course, everyone can do the math there. If that timeline is correct, you look at this 2 ways. We've talked about it on this show a lot. The team now has a better understanding, a more clear understanding of how to navigate this time with that in mind. But also, my question is, will that be enough time upon his return for the team to get to where they want to be come playoff time? If it's 4 weeks, it's about 15 games before playoffs. If it's 6 weeks, it's about 12 games before playoffs. Big game.
I think at this point, you have to take whatever is given to you. You know, you want LeBron back as healthy as possible. And I think once he's back, and hopefully in addition to AD, that they're able to play at a level that they're used to playing and not have a lot of, hesitancies and, soreness and things like that. I think they'll have enough time, whether it's 12 games or whether it's 10 games. They've already established some type of chemistry and cohesiveness last year and this year. I think the guys are playing hard right now. They're trying to sustain that chemistry. They're not winning, but they're playing hard. So I don't think, I know they want to be where they want to be in seeding. I'm not really big on that this year. I think they get some games under their belt. They could, get some chemistry going again.
Western Conference is tough. So,
And it just got tougher, I feel.
Yeah, no, it's tough. With the play-in opportunities, in terms, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I believe there's for sure time to still be in a good position to make a good postseason run. What gives me the confidence that they will get in for sure, even though the Western Conference is tough, is Anthony Davis will be back sooner than 4 to 6 weeks.
Which they're expecting 2 weeks.
So that, even if the Lakers continue to struggle a little bit, without LeBron and AD for the next couple weeks, I think Anthony Davis bolsters you enough to hold on to a good playoff positioning, even if it's towards the bottom of the race in the West. And then you get LeBron back. Maybe you move up a couple slots going into the postseason, but you're healthy and feeling good at the right time.
That's basically what we're telling you, Laker Nation. No need to panic.
No.
Let's remain patient right now. Let's get you live to Lakers reporter Mike Trudell at Staples Center. The Lakers are 1-4 against the Sixers in the last 3 seasons. Their lone win against them coming at home on March 3rd of last year. Hello, Mike.
You're right, been a little bit, but also just speaking about the playoff discussion in the Western Conference, not sure there's a huge delineation between, say, Utah and the 1 seed and even a Dallas or a Portland that are 6, 7. You think about the matchups that you could be there, and I don't know if the Lakers are that concerned. Also, home court maybe not as much of an issue this year, just considering fans. So they just want to get there healthy, and that remains the priority. Now, speaking of health, Ali, you referenced this earlier. Of course, Marc Gasol is going to return, but before we got to that, just wanted to get Frank's thoughts on the trade deadline, if there's anything that he takes into account when he goes into the locker room. So here's the head coach a couple moments ago.
Yeah, I would say under 5% of my effort has been on the trade deadline. Rob and Kurt Rambis explore all those possibilities to improve our team. They'll bring things to me if they get close to getting done. But for the most part, my focus has been on beating the 76ers, and I haven't really had any conversations with our group about the trade deadline. Everybody knows it's a business. The team's going to try to improve themselves if they have the opportunity to. And our job is to be a pro and come in and win a game tonight.
Frank, you had mentioned that shoot around about Marc Gasol and returning in a minutes limit. If you wouldn't mind just reiterating that and kind of what your expectations are for what he can give you and how much you've missed a presence like that on both sides of the court.
Yeah, this is to me a little bit like the equivalent of a rehab start in baseball. There's just not opportunities this past week in practice to really get him some serious run, pick up games or whatever to try to get him back in shape and get his legs under him. He was really set back with this absence, and we're going to have to use small stretches of games to try to get his legs under him. And yes, 15 minutes. Yes, sorry.
15 minutes, got it.
Yeah.
And then what's your outlook at the way that Philadelphia's been playing 6-1 without Embiid? Seems to be still flying pretty high. I know they lose Tony Bradley today at the trade deadline, but what have you seen from the Sixers team and what's your focus tonight?
Yeah, well, they got a great team. You know, they still got 2 all-star level players. We know what Dwight brings to the table at the center position. They did trade away Tony Bradley, the guy they've been starting at that spot, but you know, the way they've been shooting the basketball, their bench, and when you got Simmons and Harris playing all-star level, you know, that's why they're winning a lot of games, and you know, obviously they're defending at a high clip too. You know, that's a big reason for their success this year on top of their talent.
All right, that plus the return of Danny Green to Staples Center wearing a Sixers jersey, and we might see Dwight Howard starting. They have preferred, and they being Doc Rivers, has preferred to bring him off the bench this year where he's played well, but he may start tonight. Embiid, of course, out, and then Tony Bradley, as we went over there, not playing tonight. He was traded, so we'll see how the former Lakers do tonight against the current Lakers.
Well done, as always. We appreciate it, Mike. Laker fans, here's your chance to show your purple and gold pride. If you want to be our featured fan of the game, check out our Spectrum Sportsnet Twitter feed and reply to our Modelo Fighting Spirit fan of the game post with a photo or video of you in your Lakers gear, and we will show our fan of the game later in the show. Keep it here for the Lakers and Sixers. KCP's name was in trade rumors, but he's still a Laker. We'll talk to him a little bit later in the show about the emotions of the trade deadline. And coming up on Access, the trade deadline may have passed, but that doesn't rule the Lakers out from improving their roster further. Our Lakers.
But Laker fans, they're spoiled, and can you blame them? They've always had owners, going back to Dr. Jerry Buss, who are willing to spend and fix things and do what they have to do during the offseason. Well, there is no offseason. You know, the fans just have to be patient is the bottom line. They just do.
Laker Nation.
Remember Kamen laying on the bench, Allie?
That might have been the low point.
I'm going to connect this for you right now. Laker Nation, there's no need to panic. The only time you can panic is when you're down 3-1 in an NBA Finals and you're heading into Game 7 when it's all said and done. But in that case, you've got a guy who understands what that's all about on your side.
You were there front row, weren't you?
Yeah, and I was also there front row when Kamen played on the bench.
You were working for the Cavs.
All right, we're moving on. Come check out the debut episode of our brand new Lake Show podcast. It's now live on our Spectrum News app. Just download the app in the Apple or Google store if you haven't already, or find it wherever you get your other favorite podcasts. That's the Lake Show podcast with me, Geeter, and Brez. The Lakers stood pat at the trade deadline, but the buyout market will be heating up. Andre Drummond of the Cavs is working on a buyout, according to Chris Haynes, and LaMarcus Aldridge has been officially bought out by the Spurs. Both players expected to receive significant attention from contenders. So we want to welcome in our Lakers insider, Mike Bresnahan. Brez, we've heard those two names. Who makes the most sense in your mind?
I think Andre Drummond. I mean, the Lakers obviously no AD for a while, no LeBron for a shorter period of time as well. You need a big guy, and here's a two-time All-Star who's going to come cheap if indeed he gets bought out, which is to be expected relatively soon. It's only going to cost the Lakers about $2 million. What would they get with Andre Drummond? Well, a guy who he had in January a 30-20 game and also a 20-20 game for Cleveland. Things did not end too well for him there. All right, they traded for Jarrett Allen back in early January, and Cleveland said this is going to be our center of the future. He's not an expiring contract like you are, Andre. So Andre has basically not played since February 12th, but still a very big body in the lane. What you're not going to get with him, he's not like the new age NBA big. He's not going to stretch the court, James. He's not going to say, all right, I'm going to beat you from anywhere from 18 to 26. That's just not his game. But he is a load to handle in the paint, on offense and on defense. Fast hands, always one of the best centers as far as steals every year. And he can block shots, too. He's not like a Miles Turner or even a Rudy Gobert, but he can definitely get his hands on some shots and alter some stuff as well. He'd be a big addition for the Lakers if indeed it does happen.
Yeah, I think that financially, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, like the Lakers were limited in being able to chase them a little bit into the market after the team won the title. Dwight got paid a little more money to go to Philly. JaVale got a good opportunity to go to Cleveland. They still miss that lob threat at the rim offensively and the athleticism and the size, around the rim defensively. And Drummond does present an opportunity at a lower cost to add something that they really miss. I'm not sure about the fit and whether or not he's built to really do what it is you need to do to win titles. I don't know him well enough to make that call, but I do think it could be a good addition to the Lakers in terms of what they missed from last year's team.
Yeah, the price is right. I think if that's the case, when you bring in players, especially of his status, chemistry is very important, and I don't know what he's willing to give up or if he's willing to come in and play a role. That's still yet to be seen. So that's something that I think, they should know before they bring him in. That would be my only, antenna that would go up. You got AD, you got, LeBron, you got Trez, you got guys who can play the game. But I think him coming off the bench, I think could be a major help, given the fact that, Marc Gasol plays a style that, and then Drummond plays another style. He's more effective as a scorer and a little bit more mobile.
18 and 14 a game, you just saw it there. 27 years old. I listened to J.B. Bickerstaff say today that he has handled the situation, which is very unique, with nothing but class, and deserves all the success that he can earn and that may come his way. So that's always good to know as well. Straight ahead on Access, Kyle Kuzma has started the last 2 games with LBJ.
Oh, what a play by Kuzma. Read it perfectly. A little bit of showtime for the Lakers.
I tell you something, Kuzma's really got his head in the game.
Tipped up and in by Kuzma. Kuzma on its way. Yes, sir. Kuzma from straight away has the triple. Kuzma saves, but now they've got numbers. Kuzma's alone at the other end. Caruso gets it to him. Easiest 2 of the night. Kuzma, 2 big steps to lay it in. Kuzma with 2 hands. Oh, Kuzma blocks it out of bounds. Kuzma throws it down over Porter. THT, a great pass to Kuzma. The hammer with 1 hand. Instead, it's Kuzma straight away. In there, got it.
Welcome back as we go inside Access. Kyle Kuzma, since 2018-19, with and without LeBron. Look at these numbers. About 6 points better without the king on the floor. A few more assists. The minutes go up. He has met and rose to the occasion when necessary. Big game. I just want you to quantify the importance level, because we know how important it is, but that importance level for him to raise it and be consistent.
Yeah, as much as Kuz has improved, double-double guy, I mean, he really has ramped up his willingness to learn the game. He's doing a great job. The most difficult thing to do is, once you've reached where he is, there's still a whole hell of a lot more to learn. And so that's where he is right now, especially with AD and LeBron out. He's got to figure out, like, he's the guy that can create on his own, and he's a shot maker. It's still a lot more to learn, even though he's exceeded what we expected, after injuries and, having 2 superstars come in. So, yeah, it's important for him now to just kind of keep a measure of where he is and find other things that he doesn't do well and try to figure out how to get better and better every day. It's a critical point. He can't stop, learning right now. He's got to keep going, because there's a lot more for him to learn if he wants to be that type of player.
Absolutely, and he wants to be that kind of player. Time for Fish's Focus. We're going to take this one step further. Brought to you by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
Good times.
Good times. Kuz has been tasked to do more playmaking and scoring without LBJ. Fish, break down what you have seen.
Balance from Kuz. Like, I think, really been balanced, like, offensively, taking quality shots, rebounding the basketball, making plays off the dribble. And one of the things that's been really most impressive is, without LeBron on the floor, he's rebounding and taking it himself. Instead of looking to outlet it to somebody else, he's looking to make the play himself here, recognizing the spacing on the floor. He sees Ayton looking away, sees Trez being fronted in transition with no rim protection. Nice lob pass over the top, easy finish. Got the Suns calling a timeout, getting frustrated with each other. Here, good D against Bledsoe, stays down, doesn't foul a jump shooter, kicks Caruso out the way, let me get this board, bringing it himself, not looking to give it to somebody else. Nice little DHO action, which simple, but it normally confuses guys. BI pointing for somebody to switch, they don't talk. Easy 3 for Wes Matthews, initiated by Kuz, just rebounding, pushing it with some pace himself. Here again, rebounds, pushing, seeing the numbers here, as soon as he sees this guy clear, he sees I'm going right, and he recognizes the size advantage, puts the left shoulder into the defender without extending, goes smooth to the rim, nice strong finish. Easy play for Kuz, and the game is just getting easier. It's slowing down for him, and when LeBron is not on the floor, he's really rebounded and taking it himself. And it's great to see, and I think he can blend in some more of that even when LeBron and AD are back.
The thing I loved so much about watching this growth is on the defensive end of the floor. That clip right there, the discipline to stay down. Yep. Love it. We showed this at the start of the show. We're going to roll with Kuz a little bit more. Take a look at Kuzma's new cut and look. That is not the real Slim Shady. That is Kyle Kuzma, back to blonde. And Coach Vogel had some thoughts about this. Take a listen.
I asked him if he could hook me up with his guy, because I'm thinking about doing the same. I think it could change things up, especially if we lose again. If we lose again, I might need to change my hair color like Kuz did, and give us a different look.
That's a great idea. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm probably not going to do it, just to, full transparency. Probably not going to actually go through with it.
Maybe he could meet us halfway and do the frosted tips, because he has some hair. No?
No.
I think it's a great idea.
No, I think he's pretty set on it.
He's okay?
Yeah, he's good.
Kuz, you keep doing you then. Fine. Nice. The Lakers and Sixers will tip off at the top of the hour right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Ben Simmons is a triple-double threat every time out. If the Lakers want to end their losing streak, they will have to figure out how to slow that guy down. And next on Access, we're going back 20 years ago. Lakers, Sixers in the
into overtime. The 76ers with the ball down by one. Iverson for three. Yes! Allen Iverson, bothered by Lewis. Iverson. Yes. How about that? And steps over to Ron Lewis. And the 76ers on their way to pulling off a start in Game 1 here at Staples.
1, 2, 3. Shaquille O'Neal, the most dominant player in the game.
A motivation for the Lakers. That 33-point loss to the Indiana Pacers. Game 5 of the finals last year. 6 on the 24. Fisher forcing hits. What a shot.
Derek Fisher has been the guy tonight.
And the Los Angeles Lakers will make it a second straight NBA crowd.
Fish seems like so long ago. Yeah, it seems like yesterday as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. You guys were 11-0 in the playoffs, going into the finals. You finished 15-1. This is a pretty good run, obviously. Were you guys thinking, let's try to go undefeated in the playoffs and see what we can do? Still a very dominant effort, though, by you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think we assumed that we would. And, I don't think we had ever really felt like we could lose that year. We were in such good rhythm, even though we had faced some adversities and injuries. That basketball team that year was just, we were thinking as one.
Yeah.
And the game was coming really easy to us. Shaq and Kobe had really found the balance that for 5 years had seemed to be difficult to maintain for long stretches. Both guys had separated themselves. They were number 1 and number 2 in the world of the best basketball players by far. So that year was just fantastic playoff run, and I don't know if I've ever seen a team as dominant. Maybe obviously a team with, have a similar record. The Warriors have been great in the postseason before, but Shaq's dominance, Kobe's dominance, I don't know if we'll ever see that. And then the defense, holding teams at 90 points.
It's like you saw my notes, Fish. Was that the most dominant Laker team that you were on? You won 5 rings with them.
Yeah.
And had some pretty good times there, but that team in particular, just steamrolling people.
Yeah, I think the physicality that Shaq played the game with, provided obviously a level of dominance, but Kobe was just really tough to guard, and defensively he was getting after people at a high level because he didn't have to always carry the load on the offensive end every single night. But Rick Fox, Horace Grant, Robert Horry, tough guys.
Derek
we
Fisher.
just physically beat people up, literally. I don't know if a team ever has been as balanced and as dominant as that team was in my experience.
Game 1, again, you guys were undefeated in the playoffs. That game went to overtime. Could have gone either way. Philly won it. turned out to be the only loss for the Lakers in the postseason. What do you remember about that game, and especially in overtime?
Yeah, I mean, the game itself, like, I just remember, for me personally, just a terrible performance.
Stop.
We had been, you know, because we swept each round before, we'd had a lot of days off in between each series. And prior to that game in the finals, I think we had been off for 8 or 9 days since the last time we played a game.
Okay.
And so we were just really anxious, but our game conditioning wasn't really there. We started off the game pretty good, but just couldn't sustain the defensive effort. And, you know, Philly got the best of us in that first game. I thought in overtime we had gotten some momentum going, and there was a whistle that just kind of turned things out. Robert Horry, that play right there, I don't know how Robert Horry gets a foul call in that situation. He's just running down the court. Mutombo bumps into him.
Yeah.
And the game changes. And, you know, you can't make excuses. You have to tip your cap to Allen Iverson and the Sixers for coming in and getting the win. And, you know, we learned from it, though, and we took care of business the rest of the way.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob hasn't forgotten about it either, for sure. Another thing that happened in that game, in the overtime, AI stepped over Tyronn Lue after hitting a shot against him. Was that motivation for you guys, the rest of that series?
I mean, we didn't really need motivation at that point. You know, we needed to be challenged and to be pushed, honestly. The only thing I really think about when he steps over Tyronn Lue is, like, Lue should never have been in that position, right? Like, T. Lue was in that position because of how poor I had performed, and Phil had to go somewhere else in that situation. And so T. Lue was very capable. Allen Iverson had a great performance.
There's a step over, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't really, as you see, nobody really turned their head.
Right.
Wasn't really, you know, everybody gets to have their little moment in the sun, and they got to have their moment, and we went on to take care of it.
Yeah, you guys did okay for yourself.
Yeah.
For sure. Fish, you mentioned your performance in Game 1. After that, though, you went nuts. I mean, you were solid 2 through 5. You caught wind, or you caught fire, didn't you? Kind of going after that Game 1 there.
Yeah, I mean, that entire playoff run, I just felt like I was in a great rhythm because our team was playing so great. And so after Game 1 of the finals, I really just felt like, all right, I got that out of my system.
Yeah.
I had not been on that final stage personally. Like in 2000, when we won our first title, I came off the bench. And so in 2001, that was my first time starting in the NBA Finals. And so after Game 1 and just getting a feel for what that's like, I just kind of settled in and got back to the way I had been playing that entire playoff run. And just such a great experience, man.
Pretty good numbers right there. 56%. You kidding me?
Yeah, it was.
Come on, Fish.
That was, you know, Shaq and Kobe made it real easy for the rest of us, and I tried to make sure I knocked them down when I was open.
A poor producer trainer. He was a young teenage kid growing up in Pennsylvania when that happened.